Good morning. Hi. I just wanted to this is what enjoy your play. That's so exciting. Yeah, right? Congratulations. Please calm down. So glad I missed that. There's some things you just can't unsee.
So it'll be mirrored. It'll be better. So you're up here, up to the right. It'll be exactly like it is on stage, like you're facing out. So you'll be in front of us. Yeah. No, not. Casey. Casey. Just trying to keep space in Go to the right. Yeah, right this side. Yeah. I just have to do the soprano voice. Hey, Mary. They'll sort it out. Hosanna, hear the people sing, Hosanna, sing us to play. Hosanna, it's a beautiful song, Hosanna, sing it all day long.
Rise as you were able, and join in the reading of the song. The Lord is my strength and my power. The Lord has become my salvation. There are seven songs of victory.
Open to me the gates of righteousness, that I may enter through them and give thanks to the Lord.
This is the gate of the Lord. Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. We bless you from the house of the Lord.
Lead the festal procession with branches up to the altar. You are my God, and I will give thanks to you.
Let us pause for prayer. Almighty God, we rejoice in the power of Palm Sunday, the pomp and circumstance, the parade, people assembled, gathered. We join in the chorus of joyous shouts, with arms waving and spirits rising. We lift up our praises and we raise our energy and enthusiasm as you grow into our lives. On that fateful day, we continue the journey with you. Help us to stay positive and help us to stay faithful. We dedicate this service to you in Christ's name. Amen. Amen. I'm going to dismiss the palm waivers at this time, and you all can be seated. I imagine it must have been pretty crazy like that on that day, going into Jerusalem, if not more chaotic than that. So, well, welcome to our service. Thank you to all the disciples and all the children for helping to bring the Festus joy in. So, do you have any visitors this morning that want to be announced or that we can acknowledge? Again, we invite you to fill out the H card, and if you have questions, put in the offering plate, and we'll get back to you on that. Well, why don't we go through our announcements, and our opportunities, and have the slides going. Where's Jenny? Probably with the kids. Well, I understand there's still some empty Easter eggs for you to take home and bring back for next Sunday. And she was saying that last year there was barely enough places to walk on the lawn filled with eggs. And so we just have to ask the kids to bring bigger baskets. Okay. The Bible study is taking a break these next couple of weeks, but we will resume. We'll let you know exactly when. Showers of blessings will continue tomorrow. And let's see. Rehearsals for Living Last Supper is tomorrow as well as Tuesday, and understand that the dress rehearsal for the choir part will also be on Tuesdays. The actual Monday, Thursday event is on Thursday at 7. Everyone is invited. And on Easter Sunday, make sure, like in the past, we would put up the plastic cross And we might need some extra men muscles to help carry the cross in, but bring 5-inch cut flowers so we can put in the crosses. It's also been our tradition to have like a little finger food potluck afterwards, and we usually hold it out there in the old entryway. So if you want to bring some goodies, that would be wonderful. And right after second service, the kids will have their Easter egg hunt. And then the Sunday school group will have a party. Several of us are going to go to our homebound folks, and we're going to sing parts of the musical to them. If you want to join us, we're also going to serve communion to them. So we're meeting here at the church at 2 after that. So you're invited to come on. Even if you don't know the musical, we do have a musical score for you to sing along with. What else is coming up? You can mark your calendars. The rummage sale is fast approaching, May 4th. And see, we have a slide of donation drop-offs. We do hope to have a sign-up, so if you want to help during those days to sort and price and help organize, that would be great. Again, that sheet there is in the on the back of the calendar from the newsletter. If you need stuff picked up, just call me and we'll arrange transportation for some of your things. The youth are going to also be there on Saturday, May 4th. Next Sunday, or May 5th, the youth are going to all go together with parents, and they're going to San Luis Obispo for the autism walk. I understand they will be carpooling. There'll be pizza right before they go. So that's after second service, May 5th. So you write that on your calendar as well. Let's see, am I missing any other announcements that we need to lift up? If not, I'm going to call Michelle and Cynthia. They're going to lead us in extinguishing our final herbal candle.
Our scripture this morning is John 13:21-30. After he said these things, Jesus became visibly upset. And then he told them why. One of you is going to betray me. The disciples looked around at one another, wondering who on earth he was talking about. One of the disciples, the one Jesus loved dearly, was reclining against him, his head on his shoulder. Peter motioned to him to ask who Jesus might be talking about. So, being the closest, he said, "Master, who?"
Jesus said, "The one to whom I give this crust of bread after I've dipped it." Then he dipped the crust and gave it to Judas, son of Simon the Iscariot. As soon as the bread was in his hand, Satan entered him. "What you must do," said Jesus, do it and get it over with."
No one around the supper table knew why he said this to him. He thought that since Judas was their treasurer, Jesus was telling him to buy what they needed for the feast, or that he should give something to the poor. Judas, with the piece of bread, left. It was night.
We extinguish the final candle as we remember Judas's betrayal of Jesus Christ. Lent is a hard season. We have examined our consciences and looked at the hard truths of our sin. We may want to rush to forgiveness, but stay here with the hardest part of the story. Remember, we cannot celebrate the glorious new life of the resurrection on Easter without going through Jesus' unjust crucifixion.
Just a few days after entering Jerusalem and receiving the praise of the crowds, Jesus' closest friends betray and deny him. The authorities arrest him on false charges, and the crowds call for his execution. We may like to think we would not deny Jesus as Peter does, or betray him as Judas does. But the reality is the same darkness exists in us. It is not just Judas' sin of betrayal that sends Jesus to the cross. It is our sin as well. Consider the areas of your life where sin still holds a foothold. Think of the dark recesses of your mind and soul that you hide from others. Know that Jesus died so that you may live in the light and be free.
Please read with us the prayer on the screen. Jesus, we are worthy. That Jesus Christ, our possession is happen. Forgive us for ways we betrayed you. We worship us money, safety, health. We forgive our neighbor. And we will receive the lands. In which you have allowed us to see our faith or whatever it is. You will let us see our lives. Try to help you from others and even from ourselves. Thank you that you love us who we are ours. Transform us into a people who love you with all that we have, and who love our neighbors as ourselves. Give us grace to repent, so we might seek first your good, truth, and peaceful kingdom. Amen.
Thank you for your help. Peace of Christ be with you. Take a few moments and greet each other. Well, let me share the joys and concerns of the church family and community. See, let me share some from first service. So Grant Rowland, who you might know, finally found an apartment. So he is rejoicing in that place to live. He would also ask for continued prayer for his brother Jeff, sister-in-laws Colleen and Sandra, Sister Kim, and his dad, Glenn. God, we are grateful for Grant. In many ways, he helps us out, and that he was able to find a place to live. And we pray that this would work out for the long haul. And we rejoice with him. Lord, in your mercy. Patricia Sanchez's grandmother, Tom Emery's mom, Marge Emery, will be 99 years old on Monday. So we celebrate with them. So happy birthday to Marge. God, we thank you for long life. Pray that you continue to comfort Marge in these years and surround the family with joy and thanksgiving. Lord, in your mercy. Let's see. So, my brother, she says it's Rose as well. Did you fill this up? Okay. Your brother is here from Las Vegas. Would you like to stand? Welcome. So there's several. Would you like to introduce them all? Can't forget her. Okay. Well, welcome. Thank you, God, for visitors and those who are able to have a mini reunion and be reacquainted and catch up. And bless them and give them continued safety in their comings and goings. Lord, in your mercy. We lift up Norman Antonio for his loss of his mother as he's still in the Philippines, but from what we understand, he will be flying back tomorrow. So we give thanks for Norman. We miss him. We pray a safe passage. Lord, in your mercy. Jim and Sherry Sullivan submitted this at first service. Apparently Noah and Azzy were in a jazz band in the musical Murder at the Peacock Lounge. So they did write on the card, very glad that they weren't the murderers. But they played some awesome jazz music. They are filling in for us. As you may notice, Lester is up north. And so they're doing everything this morning, from sound system to acolytes to reading and singing. So we are grateful for them and their blessing on our church, on our family. We lift up Noah and Nazi for their gifts that they can share to us. Lord, in your mercy. You may have noticed that Carolyn and Jed are not here, but we are grateful for Suzanne at the organ and David. Volunteering their services for us, their musical talent. So we are continued to be blessed by all the volunteers and all those who are so gifted. For David and Suzanne, we are grateful this morning. Lord, in your mercy. So yesterday, we were setting up the sanctuary. As you can see, it looks a little bit different than last Sunday. We are grateful to Fran for providing the homes. We are grateful to Dick Best for the trailer, and Grant and Daisy and David who help us haul things over and set it up in our sanctuary. We're also grateful to Jenny and Lila and Cheryl and Noah and Crystal and Joseph and Casey and Kiana for getting the sanctuary ready. They were here polishing the wood, dusting, and so did I miss anybody? I'll make sure I mention everybody. Also, we are grateful to Fran and Jen for the phone process this morning. So shall we express our appreciation for all of them? God, for the team, for all these volunteers who helped put things together yesterday so that today we can celebrate and enjoy the beautiful day of Lord, which is in our sanctuary. Lord, in your mercy. We lift up Gail Bellows, who's recovering, and this is the friend of Eileen Pickle. Lord, in your mercy. Christine Anderson, her dad passed away in the Philippines, and so she took a quick flight out. So we pray for comfort upon the family as they celebrate her life, and probably prayers for Doug as he's in charge of the kids. We pray for your speed, O God, and safe passage for Christine, and as they remember their loved one. Lord, in your mercy. God, what a long list of joys and concerns. We are grateful that the joys are overflowing, that we can come together as your family to lift up our concerns, that we can feel support, we can pray, that you know the needs even before we ask. We take a moment to pray for what's happening outside of these walls, around the world. We know that there are people who are being displaced, people who are trying to find a new place to live or find a new country. We're dealing with immigration crisis problems. Help our leaders to come up with helpful solutions as we feel the unrest, we feel the stress. Lord, in your mercy. We pray for other things that are happening around the world where there is brokenness, where there is oppression, where there is injustice. We pray for those who are at risk and know that wars continue, that fightings never seem to cease. We pray that one day that it will all stop, that your kingdom will be here on earth, where there will be no more killing, no more violence, no more conflict, but that we can live with peace and harmony and righteousness. Lord, in your mercy. We pray for our country. We pray for our state and our city. Sometimes we're overwhelmed with all the issues surrounding us. Sometimes we feel like there's times of being helpless, and that we are lost ourselves. Help us to continue to live faithfully, and to serve, and to be present, and to be a witness. Lord, in your mercy. Take a moment to pray for someone else. Maybe someone we go to school with, maybe someone we work with, someone we just met, or a relative who's far away. For those we know who may be in the hospital, maybe receiving tests, those who may be relying on treatments. Take a moment to name a name, see a face. Lord, in your mercy. We lift up Carolyn and Jed as they are away. May they enjoy their time, bring them back safely. Lord, in your mercy. Help us to relax. Help us to let go of those negative things. Help us to breathe in your goodness and your holiness. Help us to exhale. To let go of those things that are toxic in our lives. Those things that seem to come back and haunt us. Help us to let go. Help us to surrender to your Spirit. Forgive us, O God, if we've done something wrong, if we said something we should not have said. Help us to be liberated and to walk. And receive our requests, receive each one of our prayers, receive our church. We pray the prayer that was taught to us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Now we return thanks. Not only do we offer our poems and our codes and our praises, but also our monetary gifts, our precious Lord.
We remember the day when you rode into Jerusalem, when all voices praised you. And we also remember how short a time later, all voices condemned you. We ask you to help us to remember to praise you and never to condemn you. We ask you to keep us true and faithful. And we ask you also this morning to bless us as we bring our gifts and offer them in your name to further your kingdom. Bless our church, Lord. Help us through times of trouble. Keep us faithful and strong. We ask in Christ's name. Amen. Scripture reading this morning is from Luke. After he had said this, he went on ahead, going up to Jerusalem. When he had come near Bethphage and Bethany, at the place called the Mount of Olives, he sent two of the disciples, saying, "Go into the village ahead of you, and as you enter it, you will find tied there a colt that has never been ridden. Untie it and bring it here. If anyone asks you, 'Why are you untying it?' just say this, 'The Lord needs it.'" So those who were sent departed and found it as he had told them. As they were untying the colt, its owners asked them, "Why are you untying the colt?" And they said, "The Lord needs it." Then they brought it to Jesus, and after throwing their cloaks on the colt, they set Jesus on it. As he rode along, people kept spreading their coats on the ground. As he was now approaching the path down from the Mount of Olives, the whole multitude of the disciples began to praise God joyfully with a loud voice for all the deeds of power that they had seen, saying, "Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest heaven." Some of the Pharisees in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, order your disciples to stop." He answered, "I tell you, if these were silent, the stones would shout out." This is the word of the Lord.
Thank you, Larry. Let's pause. Oh God, we have heard this story several times every year. Times we are looking for you meanings and you understandings. Open up our hearts and minds and help us take it, help us to digest it, and may be helpful and useful today, tomorrow, and the next day. May all that we say and do our mighty. Oh God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. For at least 3 years, Diane Zink and I have been talking about putting on a musical called Celebrate Life. We kept trying to figure it out. You see the logo there, which was designed by Assi. But we kept running into obstacles. We kept running into difficulties in schedules, and months would pass, and we kept putting it off. 3 years. Finally, last fall, we were able to talk about it, to meet and be serious about it and make it happen. We made it happen 2 weeks ago. A lot went into it, planning of who and what and where and when. We had to get the instrumentalists, the soloists, figure out choreography, rehearsal times. We had to deal with advertising and props and costumes. And then the day of. Setting up in the sanctuary, the stage and the sets, sound and lighting and positioning of everybody. Being that it was the first time, we all had to believe and we all had to trust that everything would work out. We had our fears, we had our doubts. We were worried on so many levels. Can we memorize all that songs? Can we memorize our lines? Do all the sign language? From what I was observing, the only person who did not doubt and who did not fear was Diane. She believed in us. What we didn't know for sure is what would be the end result. We wouldn't know the response or how it would be received, but it turned out great. The results were not what we expected or anticipated, but more. Blessings, the benefit, the goodness and grace exceeded what we all envisioned. And our plans came together, and the plans came to fruition and fulfillment. And somehow God worked together for the good, as it says in Romans 8:28. Today is Palm Sunday at the beginning of Holy Week, and it's a climactic time of God's unfolding drama. God had been planning this for how long? We don't know. Maybe from the beginning of time. And as I was thinking about what to say about this event, I was thinking, did Jesus know? Did Jesus know the exact timing and sequence and planning? Is such a great mystery. Because as we look at some of the details, it seems like it was on the spot. We didn't know how much Jesus himself was planning ahead. Because as he was leading up into Jerusalem, certain things happened. When he drew to Bethphage and Bethany near the mount called Olivet, he sent 2 disciples out, saying, go into the village, and when you go there, find a colt, and no one has ever ridden on it, untie it and bring it to us. And if anyone asks about it, just say, well, the Lord needs it. I wonder if Jesus had already thought of this ahead of time, or did he sort of just figure it out that day? He hadn't made arrangements with the owner of the colt. He didn't say to his disciples, okay, a week from now, you're going to go there, you're going to get this colt, and the owner's name is such and such, and then just tell them. But it seemed like it happened that day. Our impression is that Jesus improvised and went with the flow. It wasn't the first time, though, that Jesus did something like this. Remember when he showed up in the synagogue and he went to the podium and he read that passage from Isaiah and he said, today this is fulfilled in your hearing. Did he plan this beforehand, or did he just sort of stand up there without any warning? How about the time when he went to the wedding at Cana and they ran out of wine, and his mom said, do something about it, and that wasn't in his plans. He said, well, my time is not here yet. I'm not ready to reveal, and so that was a spontaneous thing. Or how about the time when he was feeding the multitudes, and masses of people came in, and he ministered to them all day, and it got dark, and the disciples said, well, it's time to tell everybody to go home. And Jesus says, no, you feed them right now. He didn't say to them, oh, by the way, we're going to have thousands of people. You better make sure we have enough food. You can't just order out pizza. Palm Sunday was unfolding. There were other things that happened that didn't seem to be planned. People gathered and started cutting palms. And we don't know whose property all these palm trees were on. Did they just start cutting? Did they ask permission? Did they say, oh, well, we're planning this parade? And Jesus was passing by, and they started putting their coats on the ground, and they started shouting and praising. And we get the impression it's all spontaneous. And who's in charge of publicity? How do people know? There was no texting, there was no email, there's no Facebook. Then say, okay, a week from now, Jesus is going to come riding in on this colt, and you guys make sure you cut all the palms and call everybody and all your friends. It just seemed to happen. And as this was happening, there was also some other kind of planning going on, some negative planning, right? The religious leaders were annoyed that all the disciples were making so much noise, and they were ashamed. Said, can you tell your disciples to shut up? So they were annoyed, and they started scheming, and they say, well, let's have him arrested. Let's figure this out. And then Judas was making his own plans with the authorities and governments. And Judas was looking to betray him, and Judas was thinking, well, maybe I can make some money on the side. Who knows what plans he had in mind? Maybe he thought, this could start a revolution by betraying him, them arresting him. And I wonder if God planned all of Holy Week, Jesus together with him. Remember, on Monday, he curses a fig tree, and he goes into the temple and he cleanses it, throws all the tables over. Then on Tuesday, he predicts that he's going to die. And then on Wednesday, Judas is cutting the deal, making the contract, saying, okay, you're going to give me this much money, and I'm going to go and kiss Jesus, and that way you know. And then on Thursday, he has the Last Supper, and he predicts that he will be betrayed, and Peter's going to deny him, and he washes his disciples' feet. I wonder if he planned that, but just sort of thought of that the day before. Then he takes Peter, James, and John to the Garden of Gethsemane, and they pray. And then we know what happens on Friday. There's a lot of things that happen in a row. Including when he fell, and Simon and Cyrene just picked up the cross right then and there. They made no contingency plan saying, okay, well, if I fall down carrying the cross, make sure someone's there to pick it up. No, it just happened. But we like to plan ahead. We like to know what's going to happen today and tomorrow, and this moment, that moment, although we can't always control it, even though we want to control it. The timing, the results, what's going to happen. This past Friday, talking to Fran Monster, she said 38 years ago, at their house, they noticed in their backyard a rock. And in that rock was a little canary palm shoot. So he and Fran decided to plant it in the front yard. And Pastor Paul already had this in mind. He said he thought, one day this palm tree is going to provide the palms for our church. 38 years ago. The last 15 years, at least, the tree has provided palms to our church. Paul planned ahead. He was thinking, he was envisioning this in his mind. So every Holy Week, every time we celebrate the story of Jesus' parade into Jerusalem, every time we commemorate it at our church, it's with the help of that little seedling that was in that rock. And now for years it would serve and provide and bless our worship services. Pastor Paul's not with us today. He's in a care facility battling his illness. But his gift continues. Their gift continues. And Fran told me it's all about love. Love for Jesus and Jesus' love for all of us and the love of our church family. So Palm Sunday reminds us that things can happen spontaneously, that God can call us on the spot to serve, like how the disciples did, or as 2 Timothy 4:2 says, to preach the word and be urgent in season and out of season, and convince and rebuke and exhort. And be unfailing in your patience and in teaching. But Paul also reminds us to plan ahead for how our love can be shared. And the results may not happen that exact moment. It may be days, it may be months, it may be years, it may be decades, it may be centuries, as God has planned out. But we plant seeds and we place it in the pipeline, and God's timing comes into being, fulfillment, fruition. We believe that God does have overarching plans for our lives, and that they are unfolding as time progresses. We can't see it down the road. Plans on so many levels. It's like a delicate dance between us and God, and our choice, God's influence in the present and yet to be fulfilled. And so we are grateful for the witness of Palm Sunday and the events. It sets the stage for the dramatic crucifixion and resurrection. Palm Sunday helps set the stage for Holy Week. It helps us set the stage for our redemption and salvation. So we plant the seeds. We make plans for who knows what the results will be and how long they will bless. So today we celebrate the spontaneity and surprise, but also the longevity, the legacy of Palm Sunday and Holy Week. Amen? Amen. Amen. Shall we stand and shall we sing our closing? Receive the blessing. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace, now and forever. Amen.
You guys are going.
Welcome, I guess you made a yeah. I would be like two parties. My study partner is taking a practice exam tomorrow, and I'm taking a practice. We have to practice. Okay. Yeah. All right.